Hi, I'm John Costine and welcome to Port Talk. In connection with the Shore Logistics Networking Group, we have launched our networking platform called Port Talk. On Port Talk, we highlight our members, their companies, and explore how they fit into the global supply chain. Today with me is Eileen Gulian of the Laufer Group International. Eileen is the National Sales Account Executive for the New York branch. And Eileen is also the newest board member of the Shore Logistics Networking Group, and we're here to have her on Port Talk to tell us a little bit about her company. Eileen, welcome to Port Talk.
Thanks for having me, John. I appreciate it.
And Eileen, tell me about Laufer Group. Who are you? What do you guys do?
So, yes, we are an international logistics company. We work with importers and exporters to help move their cargo all around the world. We are headquartered in Manhattan. That's actually where we're sitting right now. We have eight offices coast to coast, as well as global networks through all of our agency partners in every single country. We have been in business since 1948, so just about 76 years. And the company is privately owned, run by CEO and President Mark Laufer. He started or actually took over the company from his family members, and so it's second generation owned family, mid-market NVO.
Now, that was one question I was going to ask you there. You mentioned logistics services. What type of logistics services are you offering your customers?
Sure. So as an NVO or forwarder.
Now, what does an NVO mean?
So NVO, non-vessel operated common carrier. So we don't own any of our own assets, right? So we work with all the carriers, whether ocean liners, air freight, or airlines, as well as truck vendors, to move cargo globally. So we act as a travel agent, really. That's how I try and tell friends and family, what do you do?
I like that's a good analogy.
Right?
I like that.
Yeah. So we're a travel agent for different types of companies to move their cargo around the world.
Now, what type of, when you say like NVO freight forwarding, is there also customs house brokerage involved here?
Yes. So that's our other
what's the difference, between a freight forwarder and a customs house broker?
Right. So as a freight forwarder or an NVO, we have our own contracts with the steamship lines, right? So we offer BCO clients different contract rates and different options with every single steamship line. So you name the steamship line, we're able to place your cargo on that vessel. We have direct contracts with each line. So instead of, many beneficial cargo owners might have their own contracts directly with a steamship line, that might present, restrictions for them. If you work with an NVO like ourselves, you're able to have the flexibility of working with multiple carriers, multiple sailings, multiple transit times. So we fit in the picture sometimes with some beneficial cargo owners. They might move direct on their own contracts, but then also work with us as an NVO to help kind of balance out their portfolio. And also,
a freight forwarder is basically someone that is handling the cargo on an export basis. The customs house broker is someone that's clearing the freight when it comes into the country.
So we're, John, we could do it all, which is great. So yes, we act as a freight forwarder, and we also act as a customs house broker. We have our brokers in-house, and they're actually just out this conference room door in the New York office. But I'll work with some of my importers and we'll move the cargo, whether that's ocean freight or air freight, inbound for them, and then we'll go ahead and help them with the customs brokerage piece and different trade and tariff support whenever there is the need.
So it sounds like you can basically offer like cradle to grave logistics solutions from overseas right to the shelf here in the States.
Right. I usually say like a full service logistics company. From A to Z, we could do it.
Now, let me ask you a question. Where do you see? Is there any exciting programs or what do you have on within Laufer organization right now that you guys are pushing?
So I think, we're in a very interesting space, John, where, I consider, actually we all consider ourselves, Laufer is really a mid-market NVO. And nowadays there really isn't many companies out there that fill this space as a mid-market NVO. You have your very large forwarding and NVOs out there, and then you have your mom and pop type companies. And we're right in the middle. And it's been an area where we're able to constantly succeed and book new logos or book new bring on new accounts every single week, because there's so many companies that need someone like us. They get the attention to detail, they get advocacy through us, they get a true partner and an advocate, where sometimes if they're going to these larger companies or these smaller companies, it's not a good fit for them. So we're in this space where I think we're going to continue to succeed for many years to come.
Well, I mean, your reputation, your longevity, obviously, you're not someone who just showed up and started playing in the sandbox this week. So, with sounds to me, you're offering a full logistics portfolio, so if a customer comes to you and says, I need this widget picked up here in Hong Kong and delivered to Long Island City, you're going to be able to do that for your customers.
Definitely. We work with all size and range of customers out there, but I would say our sweet spot is really anywhere from 100 containers to 800 containers as a mid-market NVO. But, if somebody is like, hey, Eileen, I need to move, I'm a startup company and I need to move cargo out of Shanghai, I'm going to say, okay, let's explore it. I'm always down to have a conversation with anyone. I just want to learn more about their company, find out what they do, why they enjoy doing it, and see if we can help along that way to help them grow, succeed, and just tap into their supply chain and make sure it works out for them.
One thing that's fun about this industry, and especially when you're on the supply chain side of it, is the solution selling. And I always look at obstacles or opportunities.
Right.
And so when a customer does come to you with a particular obstacle, and you find the opportunity there, and then provide the solution.
Exactly.
And I think today, as you mentioned, the small to medium sized type of folk, there is definitely a lacking there. And given the service and attention that they need,
right.
There's a lot of business out there that's there, and you just got to go out and get it.
Definitely.
And provide the service.
Right. And that's the piece of it that I enjoy, the challenging piece. It's like, don't give me the easy cargo. I mean, of course I would want the easy cargo on a port-to-port basis or door-to-port, but give me something that's challenging and that our competition is shying away from, and I'll see if I can provide solutions for you and find a way for you to succeed.
Well, the other side about that too, sometimes when somebody gives you business real fast right off the bat, all of a sudden you got a red flag saying, well, what's the problem? What's wrong with this?
Right.
But then you vet it right and you do it correctly, and you find out it's a good fit for your organization, and the customers get the service, and you're happy and they're happy.
Right. Yeah. Anyone could quote a low rate, just to get business, and what you want to do is be able to make sure it's good for both parties.
One of my favorite, give me your best cheapest, okay, is my favorite oxymoron in this industry, because it doesn't exist.
Right.
You get one or two things here.
Yep.
You get service or you get rates.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to push service, because in the long run, that's what's going to count.
Exactly.
And obviously with your organization, you've been around for a long time, so that service is pretty key.
Yeah. I've been with the company this summer it'll be 13 years. So service is key. And, I'm happy to say I've had a lot of my clients that I've worked with 10 plus years.
Well, you just walked right through the next question on that one. Is how'd you get into business?
Okay, so it's a really long story, so I'm gonna see if I can condense it a little bit.
Everybody's got long stories here.
Yeah, well, I fell into the industry, and a lot of people say that too. Nowadays, a lot of people go to school for supply chain and logistics, but back in 2008, I was working in media buying and selling. I actually went to school for media. And so I worked in the industry for a short 4 years out of college, actually. And in 2008, I moved to the West Coast, and I was freelancing for a media company. And once I got there, it was 2008, so not a great economic year. And my neighbor at the time worked for CMA CGM. And, I was starting to become really friendly with her. And she was
Are you still friends with that person?
I need to reach out to her. I need to reach out to her because I'm so thankful and grateful for how I got my start, and it was because of her. So she told me she worked for CMA CGM, and I had no idea what a container ship was or what this world of shipping and logistics was. And I told her I needed some type of job because I was freelancing and I was working part-time. And one thing led to the other, and she was like, I think you're going to hit it off with a friend of mine who works for an NVO. And I'm like, what's an NVO? And he was originally from New Jersey. So I connected with him, and he needed someone in an operations role. So I jumped in an operations role. And in that short amount of time that I was with that old NVO, I went from operations to business development to sales in all under 2 years. Mm-hmm. So it was just great timing. I owe so much to the both of them, Sarah Tenario and Alex Guazo. Super grateful and thankful for them because I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for them.
I love hearing those stories, and it's funny because you kind of accidentally fall into it, but then
right.
once you're in it, you realize how much you love it.
Love it, yeah.
And and it can be all-consuming at times too. But the most important thing is that what we do in our downtime. So what do you do for fun? And I understand that you and I have something in common here.
Oh, okay.
I understand you played rugby back in the day.
I did. I played rugby out of college, right in college, at Sacred Heart University, which is in Connecticut. I was an 8-man.
I was a scrum half, so.
And
I did play 8-man as well too, and I don't have the height for it, but I did.
But it was one of those. Another thing that I kind of fell into. I didn't know what rugby was, and I fell into it. I went to college, decided not to play any collegiate sports. So at the time, rugby was a club sport. And I'm actually proud to say at Sacred Heart now it's D1.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so everything that we did back then, the club sport started a few years before us, but all the hard work that we did to see where they are now playing D1, it's, full funding.
I'm a member of the Monmouth Rugby Club, and we recently celebrated our 50th anniversary.
That's great.
And to look back at that too, and that obviously you're a rugger, and that bond, that camaraderie, it's there forever. It's there for your life.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I stayed in touch with all my friends from college, and it's great when we can get together.
Other than getting muddy and dirty, obviously, what else are you doing?
A lot of time is spent with my family and friends. Living at the Jersey Shore. We live in a great area, so. Coming up, summer's approaching, so I'm looking forward to some great beach days, some downtime, being on the water, boating, and just relaxing when we can, because like you said, this industry, we need some downtime.
Well, that's why you're living at the Jersey Shore.
And besides that, working out, yoga, but I need to pick up some more hobbies, I think, but...
Yeah, like you don't have enough to begin with.
Right.
So listen, Eileen, thank you for sitting down with me. And, how do people get a hold of you to talk to you about, Laufer and
Sure.
how, they can work with you?
I'm very active on LinkedIn, John. You could always reach out to me on LinkedIn, send me a message. I would love to, whether you're a vendor, a BCO, or just someone thinking of maybe even getting into the industry, I would love to be able to have a conversation with you. You could always check out our website, and I'll have John go ahead and put along our website on the bottom of this Port Talk. But please reach out, and hopefully we can have a conversation.
Well, Eileen, I had a miserable time sitting here speaking to you. Welcome to Port Talk. Welcome to the Shore Logistics Networking Group. We're very happy to have you, and thanks for sitting down with me here today.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Have a good day now.
You too.